Hello everybody, my name is Zara. In case you're not aware, I'm an independent author who has published 3 books at this point. And that's not what this video is about, but I just wanted to set this up because I'm an author, I do a lot of reading. And I wanted to make a video about my favorite books as of right now. I say right now because I'm actually in the middle of reading a book that is almost certainly going to be in my Hall of Fame. I don't know if you can see these 4 rows right here. This is my Hall of Fame. I'm going to go over a lot of the books in there. And yeah, I don't want to have to set this up anymore. Let's get started. The first book is Pride and Prejudice. Yes, this is my favorite book. That's why I got a really nice leather-bound edition. It's got gold trimming on the edges, and the pages are so thin, it's like a Bible. I love this book. It is, in case you're not aware somehow, like a really classic romance story about a girl named Elizabeth Bennet who meets a man named Mr. Darcy, who at first seems very standoffish, very quiet, kind of rude, and throughout the story she's learning a little bit more about Mr. Darcy, but she is very prejudiced against him. Immediately is I know who he is, I don't like this kind of guy. And Mr. Darcy is very prideful, and he doesn't want to sort of be vulnerable with Elizabeth, and that causes them to have many rifts, and for there to be a lot of highs and lows in them getting to know one another. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I love Jane Austen's writing style. It is a huge influence on the way that I write. She's very character driven, and even though this book is 200 years old, it is, the dialogue and the prose are so you immediately recognize what they're saying, what they're talking about. It feels so modern in a way that is completely completely baffling when you read other things that came out at the same time. I tried reading Jane Eyre, and that was so thick and so monotonous, and I hated that writing style. I love this. Even the opening lines of this book are so great at establishing what the book is about. Let me read an excerpt. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. That line establishes, in kind of a very cogent way, there's no way that Jane Austen would have known that today we don't really think about it that way, that a man with a good fortune must be looking for a wife to share his fortune with. But during the time that this book was written, that is exactly how they thought. And it is a running theme throughout this book about money and finances. The family is at risk of losing their home because Mr. and Mrs. Bennet did not have any sons, and so their estate, when the father dies, is actually going to go to a cousin of the Bennets, Mr. Collins, because I guess he's the eldest male kind of that could inherit the land. And so that's a huge thing that is a running theme throughout the book, is whether or not the eldest daughter, Jane, should marry Mr. Collins. It is fascinating. I love this book so much. If you are kind of I'm not sure if I want to read it because it's very old and it's probably very stiff, it is not. It is remarkably modern in the way that it discusses a lot of the themes. So, check it out. Normal People. Number 2, Normal People. As you can see, there's tabs on here, and that's actually because after I read this book, I immediately wanted to use it in a project that I had going towards my degree. I wrote about the 2 main characters and sort of the things that they go through, and how A lot of their experiences kind of impact their romantic and sexual desires later in life. This book is by Sally Rooney. A lot of people have like kind of negative things to say about Sally Rooney. They say that her characters are unlikable, which I find so weird because to me, her characters are so grounded and like realistic in the fact that like, no, they're not perfect people, and that's fine. That's good and realistic. We don't expect people in our everyday life to be like completely unselfish, completely giving of all themselves. And this whole story goes over the shared life between Connell and Marianne from when they were teenagers to like their, I think, early 20s, and how they weave in and out of each other's lives, and how they kind of like not in a relationship, no way we're going to be in a relationship. Okay, maybe we'll be in a relationship, or not really. She gets a boyfriend, he gets a girlfriend. It's very complicated, very messy. I love this book. I read this book. It was one of the first books in a long time that really, I was like staying up late at night reading it. Like I really wanted to like get through it. As far as like books that are going to be on this list, it's actually like not very long at all. I love this book so much. It is just short of Pride and Prejudice for me. I really appreciate it. You guys should check it out if you haven't. Let's continue. Changing gears from love stories and things like that, The Book Thief. I got this book recommended to me. I think it was Jack Edwards in a video. He was talking about books that have come out in the 21st century that will most likely become like classic lit in the coming century, and this book absolutely hits the mark. I love this book. In case you're not aware, The Book Thief is about a little girl in Nazi Germany who was left by her mother because it turns out that her parents are communists and will be at risk of like extermination because of the Nazis. And you're sort of going with her as she is learning about the Nazis, what they believe, sort of what their goals are. And her foster parents actually a Jewish man who escaped from confinement. I don't think he was at a concentration camp yet, but he was like kind of hiding from the Nazis. The adoptive father helped the Jewish man's father and basically said, like, if you need anything, let me know. And the Jewish man's father said, hey, seek out this man and basically get help if you need it. And the little girl, the main character, the book thief, interacts with the Jewish man and kind of learns about his life. And when she comes to the home, she actually doesn't know how to read. And so, sort of how she gets into book thievery is at the funeral of her little brother. She finds a book on how to basically like upkeep a cemetery. Like it's a grave digger's kind of guide, and she learns how to read starting with that book, and she continues with other books that she finds or steals. She doesn't steal every book that she learns how to read from, but she's kind of given some of them, and that's sort of, kind of a quid pro quo kind of thing with others. But like, I love this book. It was very sad. It was very emotionally draining reading this book. And I was reading this last year, like during the 2024 election, like campaign season. So I was really dealing with a lot of anxiety while I was reading this book, which was not helping. But yeah, it's fascinating. I don't know that I've done justice to describing this book, but that's okay. Just look it up. It's awesome. And I hope you guys enjoy this book recommendation. And let's continue. In fourth place, The Perfect Girlfriend by Karen Hamilton. This book I got recommended. There was a Crimson Rogue episode where he was talking about I think it was a Colleen Hoover book. And he said that he was kind of expecting that book, sort of with the way that the plot was working out, to be a lot like Perfect Girlfriend. And when he was describing the book, I was like, oh my god, I want to read that. So, like, the next day, I think I went to the library, checked out the book. I actually own this copy, because when I really love a book, I want to put it in the Hall of Fame. But most of the books that I read from the library. That's just kind of how I am. Like, I don't want to have to buy every single book, because not every book is going to be like Perfect Girlfriend. This actually, I guess, came from a library. I guess maybe they had like an estate sale or something. But it kind of like came to me used. But The Perfect Girlfriend is another psychological kind of suspense book. It's about a woman who is essentially trying to get back with her ex. Her ex is a pilot, and she was so in love with this man. And when they broke up, she was devastated, and she worked really, really hard to try to set up her life to get back with him and sort of show, like, oh, I've changed, I'm not the same person. Her ex is a pilot, so what does she do? The natural thing that you do is you go to, training to become a flight attendant. So that maybe you can have, like, a meet cute again at, like, a airport. And she sneaks into his apartment and does little things to take care of him. Like, she knows that he likes a certain sweet, so she'll always make sure that the refrigerator is, like, stocked up with those sweets. And, like, if he's on, like, a long flight, like, she goes into the system and she sees, like, oh, he's on a flight to, like, Dubai or something. He won't be back until tomorrow evening. Awesome, I can hang out at his apartment until tomorrow evening. And she cleans up after herself. She makes sure that her presence is not, like, super, like, something that he's going to be aware of. Very creepy. This woman is, like, not okay, and there is so much backstory that you learn reading this book about her and her relationship with him and what that was actually like. And I love it. I love this book so much. As soon as I finished it, I wanted to lend it out to somebody to read. Actually, a lot of these books I've actually just read in the last, like, year. I've had a really good, like, last couple of years of books that I really enjoyed. So, yeah, if any of that sounds like something that you'd be into, absolutely go to the library, get a copy of this, and enjoy. I could not put this down when I was reading it. Let's continue. Rounding out the list of my top 5 favorite books of all time, and I will absolutely make another video talking about other books that I love, if that is something that you're interested in. And yeah, like this video if it's been helpful to you, if you've gotten some good book recommendations. And yeah, finally, rounding out this list, it's a bit of sort of a left turn, I'm gonna be honest, but I would not be doing justice to this list if I left this off just because it was a comic. Inside Mari. Inside Mari is at its core about identity, and it explores the theme of identity through a mystery. How does a college student named Isayo, who is a college dropout, he doesn't have a lot of prospects, he's sort of mooching off of his parents, paying for his college, but really he's not going to university at this time. How does he find himself waking up in the body of a teen girl? How did that happen? How did he end up in this body? Who is this girl? He finds out that her name is Mari. He finds out that she's kind of popular at school. And what happened to the real Mari? Because he's in this body where did the real mind of Mari go? Is that in the body, in his old body? How does he go back to being Isao? How does he go back to his normal life? What happened? This book is actually a book series. It has 9 volumes. You fly through it. I mean, I flew through 1 volume alone in like 20 minutes. It is really quick, and it's so packed with just fascinating, just sort of discoveries and explorations of what it is like. I mean, it's not a trans story. It's not Isao is not a trans man, but there is a distance between, his internalized feeling of I'm a man, and the fact that he is very much a cis girl, in this body, going through this life. What is it like to be a sister? What is it like to, sort of be looked at, sexually by boys? And, again, who is Mari? What was she like? What happened? I really cannot recommend this series enough. If you're going to read one manga, absolutely read this. It is amazing. As I said, if you're interested in another 5 book recommendations, let me know by liking this video, by subscribing. I love talking about books. I love talking about books that I love. I can talk about books that I don't like so much, but honestly, that's maybe not as fun for me, because I don't like reading books I don't like. In case you want a spoiler, my full list of top 10 books is on my website, and it's subject to change. I mean, if I read, as I said, I'm really enjoying Circe. It might very well end up on my top 10 list when I'm finished with it. I just have to finish it before I can rate it. And yeah, as I also said at the very beginning, I am a book author, so if any of the things that I've talked about are interesting to you, you might be into the types of books that I write as well as read. So my website is zarajday.com. Go there, check out my books, check out my book recommendations. I have a full list of all the books that I've rated, and like where they stand on that list, how many stars I give them. My website has so much stuff on it, I honestly can't just sum it up in real quick. But yeah, absolutely. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.